My family staged a car crash and blamed me for insurance money. I found dashcam footage. I played it at our family reunion. Their faces when the cops showed up were golden. So there I was, just chilling at my apartment after a long day at work, when this letter shows up from Progressive Insurance. I'm thinking it's probably just some random paperwork or maybe a rate change notification. Boy, was I wrong. The letter basically said I was being held responsible for a car accident that caused $15,000 in damage to my brother Cody's Honda Civic. According to their records, I had rear-ended him in our parents' driveway. 3 weeks ago, the kicker? I wasn't even home that day. I was literally at a work conference in Denver, staying at a Marriott downtown, with about 50 witnesses and a hotel receipt to prove it. I'm reading this thing like 3 times, thinking there's gotta be some mistake. But nope, there's my name, my license plate number, and a police report number that supposedly documented the whole incident. My hands are literally shaking as I grab my phone to call my mom. "Oh, honey," she says in that sweet voice she uses when she's about to drop some major news on you. "We were going to tell you about this. Cody's car got pretty banged up, and well, your insurance should cover it since you were the one who hit him." I'm like, "Mom, what are you talking about? I was in Colorado that entire week." Dead silence for like 10 seconds. Then she goes, "Well, maybe you forgot. You know how stressed you've been lately with work and everything? Forgot? Forgot a whole car accident? This woman raised me for 18 years, and she's really gonna stand there and tell me I forgot about crashing into my brother's car. The same brother who's been living rent-free in our parents' basement for the past 2 years, driving their old Buick around because his credit's too shot to get his own ride." I hang up and immediately call Cody. His phone goes straight to voicemail. Same with my dad. It's like the whole family suddenly decided to go off the grid right when I need answers. Now, I've always been the responsible one in the family. I'm talking perfect credit score, never missed a payment on anything, working my way up at this marketing firm downtown. Meanwhile, my parents have been struggling since Dad got laid off from the factory, and Cody hasn't held a steady job since high school. But this was next level, even for them. Update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments so far. I know this sounds absolutely insane, but trust me, it gets so much worse. I decided to check something that completely changed everything. Should I have gone to the police immediately, or was I right to investigate first? The next morning, I'm sitting in my car in the parking garage at work, just staring at my Honda CR-V. Not a single scratch on it. Not one. If I had rear-ended someone hard enough to cause 15 grand in damage, there would definitely be some evidence on my front bumper, right? I take pictures of every angle, just in case. That's when I remember the dash cam. I bought this little Garmin thing about 6 months ago after seeing way too many videos on Reddit about insurance fraud. Best $150 I ever spent, turns out. I pop out the SD card and plug it into my laptop right there in the parking garage. I'm scrolling through footage from 3 weeks ago, and there it is. Clear as day, time-stamped and everything. My car never left the parking spot at my apartment complex that entire day. The morning I supposedly crashed into Cody's car, my Honda was sitting there covered in morning dew, until almost noon when my neighbor's kid ran past with his golden retriever. But here's where it gets really interesting. I keep scrolling through the footage from different days, and I find something that makes my blood run cold. 2 days after the supposed accident, there's Cody's Honda sitting in the driveway of my apartment complex. The front end is completely smashed, headlight hanging by the wires, bumper practically falling off. Cody's standing there with my dad, and they're both looking at the damage. Then my dad pulls out his phone and starts taking pictures. Not of the accident scene, not of my car, but of Cody's damaged Honda positioned right behind my perfectly fine CR-V. They were staging photos to make it look like I had hit him. I'm watching this footage like it's some kind of crime documentary on Netflix, except these are the people who raised me, the people who taught me right from wrong, who grounded me for lying about cleaning my room when I was 12. And here they are, orchestrating this elaborate insurance scam with me as the fall guy. The worst part? I can actually hear them talking on the video because my dashcam picks up audio from about 20 feet away. My dad's voice comes through crystal clear. "Make sure you get the angle that shows her license plate. We need this to look legit." Cody responds with something that just breaks my heart. "You sure she won't figure this out? She's always been the smart one." "She's too trusting," Dad says. "Besides, what's she gonna do, call us liars? We're family." Family. Right. I sit there in that parking garage for probably an hour just replaying that footage over and over. 29 years old, and I'm finally seeing my family for who they really are. This isn't the first time they've used me as their personal ATM either. Dad's been borrowing money from me for 2 years, always promising to pay it back after he gets back on his feet. Mom's been hinting about how tight money is every time we talk, usually right before asking if I can help with the electric bill or grocery money. I always said yes because, family comes first. That's what they taught me. But this wasn't asking for help. This was straight up fraud, and they were willing to destroy my insurance rates, my credit, and probably my job prospects if this thing went south. All for $15,000 that they could have just asked me for. Well, maybe not asked. 15 grand is a lot more than the usual couple hundred here and there. But still, they didn't even give me the chance to say no before deciding to frame me for something I never did. I copy the footage to 3 different flash drives and email it to myself on 2 different accounts. Then I start researching lawyers who specialize in insurance fraud. Turns out what my family did isn't just morally wrong, it's a felony. Like actual prison time kind of felony. Update. The responses to this are incredible. And yeah, a lot of you are asking the same questions I was asking myself. The video evidence was damning, but I needed to be smart about this. I found something else that made the whole situation even more twisted. But here's my question for you all. If your own family betrayed you like this, how far would you go to make sure they faced consequences? I spend the next week digging deeper, and what I find makes me sick to my stomach. I hack into Cody's Facebook messages, which isn't hard since he uses the same password for everything, and I helped him set up his account years ago. There's an entire conversation thread between him, my parents, and my Uncle Mike about this plan. Uncle Mike, who's been in and out of legal trouble his whole life, apparently suggested the whole thing. Insurance companies pay out all the time for family accidents, one message reads. They never investigate too hard because it's not worth their time for anything under 20 grand. My mom's response: we just need to make sure the story stays consistent. She's been sending us money anyway, so really this is just cutting out the middleman. Cutting out the middleman. Like I'm some kind of bank instead of their daughter. The thread goes on for weeks, planning every detail. How to damage Cody's car to make it look like a rear-end collision. Where to stage the photos. Even what to tell me when I inevitably found out. They had backup stories ready. Excuses about why I might have forgotten. Suggestions that maybe I was stressed or distracted. They planned this for weeks. Weeks of family dinners where they looked me in the eye and acted normal, all while plotting to commit a felony using my name. But here's the thing that really gets me. There's a message from 3 months ago where my dad tells Uncle Mike that I just got a promotion at work and a nice raise. She's doing really well for herself, he writes, maybe too well. She's starting to ask questions about when I'm going to pay her back. So this whole thing wasn't just about getting $15,000. It was about making sure I stayed financially tied to them, keeping me on the hook for their problems without having to ask permission or explain where the money was going. I screenshot everything and add it to my growing file of evidence. My lawyer, this sharp woman named Jennifer who specializes in white-collar crime, tells me we have enough to not only clear my name with the insurance company, but also to press criminal charges if I want to go that route. The question is, she says, how far do you want to take this? They're your family. That word again. Family. I think about it for days. Part of me wants to just make this go away quietly, get the insurance claim dropped, and maybe have a serious conversation with my parents about boundaries and honesty. The other part of me, the part that's been supporting them financially for years while they plan to stab me in the back, wants to see them face real consequences. Then I remember something. Our annual family reunion is coming up in 2 weeks. Every year, the whole extended family gets together at my Aunt Sarah's house in the suburbs. Cousins, grandparents, family friends, everyone who's ever mattered to our family shows up for this thing. And every year, without fail, my parents spend the entire day bragging about their kids, how successful I am, how proud they are, how we're all such a close-knit family. Last year, my dad actually gave a speech about how family loyalty is the most important value he ever taught us. I get an idea. It's probably petty, definitely dramatic, but after weeks of being lied to and manipulated by the people who are supposed to love me most, I'm feeling a little dramatic. I call Jennifer and ask her if she knows any cops who might be interested in witnessing a confession to insurance fraud. Turns out she knows several, and they're very interested in cases like this because insurance fraud drives up rates for everyone. The plan is simple. I'm going to show up to the family reunion like nothing's wrong. I'm going to wait until everyone's gathered around for the usual family stories and speeches, and then I'm going to play that dash cam footage on Aunt Sarah's big screen TV for everyone to see. Jennifer thinks I'm crazy, but she agrees to have 2 detectives waiting outside just in case my family decides to admit to anything incriminating in front of witnesses. You sure you want to do this publicly? She asks. This is going to blow up your whole family dynamic. I think about that for exactly 2 seconds before answering. They already blew it up when they decided to frame me for a felony. Update. Okay, everyone's been asking for updates, and honestly, your support has kept me going through this whole mess. The reunion was yesterday, and I'm still processing what happened. I got everything on video, the cops were involved, and let's just say my family's group chat has been very quiet since then. But was I wrong to expose them so publicly, or did they deserve exactly what they got? The day of the reunion arrives, and I'm nervous as heck, but also weirdly excited. I've spent 2 weeks planning this moment, and I've got the footage loaded up on a flash drive, ready to plug into Aunt Sarah's entertainment system. I show up right on time, wearing this cute sundress I bought specifically for the occasion. If I'm going to blow up my family's world, I'm going to look good doing it. Everyone's there. Grandparents, cousins, family friends, even some neighbors who've known us for years. The usual crowd of about 30 people, all gathered in Aunt Sarah's backyard around picnic tables, loaded with potato salad and Bud Light. My parents are already in full bragging mode. Mom's telling anyone who'll listen about my recent promotion, how I'm moving up in the corporate world, how proud they are of their successful daughter. Dad's going on about family values and how we've always stuck together through thick and thin. Cody's there too, looking uncomfortable every time someone mentions my success. He keeps glancing at me like he's waiting for the other shoe to drop, which, honestly, fair enough. Around 4 o'clock, Aunt Sarah calls everyone inside for the traditional family slideshow. Every year, she puts together this presentation with old photos and videos, and everyone gathers in the living room to watch and share stories. Perfect timing. Actually, I say, standing up as everyone's settling into their seats. I have something I'd like to share with everyone first, a little video that really shows what family means to me. My parents are beaming. They probably think I put together some sentimental montage about childhood memories or something. I plug in the flash drive and cue up the footage. This is from my dash cam about 3 weeks ago. I thought you all might find it interesting. The video starts playing on the 60-inch screen. At first, it's just my car sitting in the apartment parking lot, nothing happening. People are looking confused, probably wondering why I'm showing them surveillance footage of an empty parking lot. Then Cody's Honda comes into view. I watch my parents' faces as they realize what they're seeing. Mom goes pale. Dad's jaw drops. Cody looks like he's about to be sick. The audio kicks in right as Dad's voice fills the living room. Make sure you get the angle that shows her license plate. We need this to look legit. The room goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. On screen, Dad and Cody are positioning the damaged car, taking photos, having their little conversation about how I'm too trusting and won't figure out their scam. Someone in the back of the room whispers, "What the hell is this?" My mom jumps up and tries to get to the TV to turn it off, but my cousin Jake is sitting right in front of the entertainment center and he's not moving. Everyone's glued to the screen, watching my family commit insurance fraud in high definition. The video ends and the room is still completely silent. 30 people staring at the blank screen, then slowly turning to look at my parents and Cody. Grandma speaks first. "Robert," she says to my dad in this voice I've never heard from her before, "what did we just watch?" Before Dad can even attempt an answer, there's a knock at the front door. Aunt Sarah goes to answer it, and in walk 2 detectives in plain clothes, badges hanging from their belts. "We're looking for Robert, Margaret, and Cody," one of them says. "We'd like to have a conversation about an insurance fraud case." The next 10 minutes are absolute chaos. Dad's trying to explain that it was all a misunderstanding. Mom's crying and saying they never meant to hurt me. Cody's just sitting there with his head in his hands. The detectives are reading them their rights while half the family is demanding explanations and the other half is trying to process what they just witnessed. My Uncle Mike, who apparently helped plan this whole thing, tries to sneak out the back door. Unfortunately for him, there was a third detective waiting in the backyard, just in case. As they're loading my parents and brother into the police cars, my mom looks at me through the window with this expression I'll never forget. Not angry, not sad, just completely defeated. "We just needed the money," she mouths. That's it. That's her explanation for planning to destroy my credit, my insurance rates, and potentially my career. They needed money, so they decided to commit fraud using my identity. After the cops leave, the family slowly filters out. Some people won't even look at me like I'm the one who did something wrong by exposing the truth. Others, especially my cousins and Aunt Sarah, come up to tell me how sorry they are and how proud they are that I stood up for myself. Grandma, who's 83 and has never said a harsh word about anyone in her life, grabs my hand as she's leaving. "You did the right thing, honey," she says. "Family doesn't mean you have to let people walk all over you." I spend that night at Aunt Sarah's house, and we talk until 3 in the morning about family, loyalty, and what it means to protect yourself from people who are supposed to love you. The next few days are a whirlwind of phone calls, legal meetings, and text messages from family members who weren't at the reunion but heard about what happened. My phone's blowing up with messages from my parents, from jail, begging me to drop the charges. "We're family," Dad's message says. "You can't do this to your own parents." But here's the thing. They already did this to their own daughter. They planned it, executed it, and would have let me take the fall if I hadn't been smart enough to check my dashcam footage. Jennifer files all the paperwork to get the insurance claim dropped and to press criminal charges for fraud, conspiracy, and identity theft. The insurance company is so grateful for my cooperation that they send me a check for my legal fees and a letter thanking me for helping combat fraud. 3 weeks later, my parents and Cody plead guilty to reduced charges. They get probation, community service, and have to pay restitution to the insurance company. Dad also has to pay me back every penny he ever borrowed, with interest. The family's split pretty much down the middle. Half of them think I went too far by involving the police and making it public. The other half thinks my parents got exactly what they deserved. Uncle Mike, who masterminded the whole thing, gets 6 months in county jail for his role as the ringleader. As for me, I take the money I get from the restitution and put a down payment on a condo in Denver. Same city where I was during their fake accident, actually. It feels symbolic. I also buy a new car, a Honda Pilot with all the latest safety features, including front and rear dash cams. Lesson learned. The most surprising thing is how free I feel. For years, I'd been carrying this weight of responsibility for my parents' financial problems, always worried about whether they were okay, always ready to help when they needed money. Now I know the truth. They weren't struggling because of bad luck or circumstances beyond their control. They were struggling because they made poor decisions and expected other people to bail them out. The difference is, now I get to choose whether I want to be one of those people. And after everything that happened, the answer is a hard no. I start a blog about financial boundaries and insurance fraud awareness. Turns out, there are a lot of people out there dealing with family members who think being related gives them the right to commit crimes in your name. 6 months later, I get a letter from my mom. She's in therapy now, working through what she calls her financial anxiety and boundary issues. She apologizes for everything and says she understands why I had to do what I did. She doesn't ask for money, doesn't ask me to visit, doesn't even ask for forgiveness. She just says she's sorry and that she hopes someday I'll be willing to have a relationship with her again. I write back and tell her that someday is possible, but it's going to be on my terms. No more financial support, no more bailing anyone out, no more putting family loyalty above my own well-being. If she can accept that, then maybe we can start rebuilding something real. As for Cody, he moves out of my parents' basement and gets a job at a local Chevy dealership. Apparently, almost getting arrested was the wake-up call he needed to start taking responsibility for his own life. He sends me a text on my birthday. Thanks for not letting me destroy my life completely. I know I screwed up and I know why you did what you did. It's not an apology, exactly, but it's acknowledgement. Sometimes that's enough. The best part of this whole experience? I learned that protecting yourself doesn't make you a bad person, even when it hurts people you love. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's destructive behavior. My family thought they could use me because I was too trusting, and because family comes first. What they didn't count on was that I value honesty and integrity more than keeping the peace. Now I'm living in Colorado, working for a tech startup, and dating this great guy who thinks my dashcam story is hilarious instead of traumatic. I've got a new chosen family of friends who support my decisions and celebrate my successes without trying to profit from them. Sometimes real family isn't the people who raised you. Sometimes it's the people who stand by you when you have to make the hardest decisions of your life. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for everyone involved is make sure actions have consequences, even when those actions come from people you love. My parents learned that family loyalty is a two-way street. You can't demand it from someone while actively betraying them. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, and that protecting myself doesn't make me selfish. And Cody learned that there are easier ways to make $15,000 than committing felonies with your parents. Everybody wins eventually, even if it took getting arrested to figure it out.